In this video, we are going to do a comprehensive review of this MacBook and determine if this is still right for you in 2024. Let's start by talking about the specs of this particular unit I have right here. This unit has a 2 GHz quad-core Intel Core i5 processor, an Intel Iris Plus graphics card, and 16 gigs of DDR4 RAM. This also has 512 gig internal SSD storage. We're actually going to talk about the performance later in the video, but let's talk about the hardware. Looking at the MacBook, it looks like every other MacBook out there. The same classic MacBook design, aluminum casing which is very strong and durable. The hinges are very strong, they are very okay. You can actually open up this MacBook with one hand. I've seen a lot of memes about that on YouTube and on social media. That is a nice thing to note. Underneath the laptop, you have these rubber studs that help with stability so that your Mac does not slip when you have it on a surface. Now let's talk about the display. The display of this MacBook is actually very impressive. The display on MacBooks are actually the best I've seen on any other laptops, and I really love the quality coming out of these MacBooks. This unit right here has a 13.3 inch display, and it has about 2560 by 1600 pixels. The picture is very clear, the colors are vibrant, and I've had no issues at all using the display of this MacBook. Now let's talk about the keyboard and the trackpad. The keyboard on this MacBook is excellent. I can say that Apple killed this one, and this is one of the best keyboards on MacBooks. Compared to the previous models, I really like this keyboard. Typing on it is very easy, and the key travel is actually very okay. I've had no issues with any key getting stuck or not responding. The keyboard is actually very nice. Now, one thing I really love about this MacBook is the fact that it still has that touch bar. I know a lot of people actually argue about this touch bar, and lots of people say that the touch bar is pointless, but to me, I think this touch bar is great. I really love it, and using this touch bar actually improves my workflow, especially when I'm working with apps that support the touch bar. When I'm working on Safari, I can easily switch between tabs by touching the touch bar. I can increase my volume, I can increase my brightness, I can increase the brightness of my keyboard light using the touch bar. Now, still speaking of the touch bar, Apple really did something different with this touch bar. We can see that we now have a physical escape button, and the Touch ID is kind of separated from the touch bar. This makes it easier for you to access the Touch ID, and it makes it easier for you to click on that escape button if you need to exit any app or something like that. So I really think that having the touch bar on this MacBook is a very nice feature. Right under the keyboard, we have this massive trackpad, and this trackpad is just like 1.5 of my palm. This trackpad is very fluid, very smooth. There's haptic feedback letting you know when you click, and you also have a lot of gestures while using this trackpad. I really do not have anything much to say about this trackpad apart from the fact that this trackpad does the job. It does the job well. Now, looking at the sides of this MacBook, we have 4 Thunderbolt Type-C ports on the MacBook, and we also have one 3.5mm audio jack on this MacBook. I really love the fact that this has 4 Thunderbolt ports, because there are other 2020 MacBook Pros that have 2 Thunderbolt ports. Owing to the fact that we have 4 Thunderbolt ports, I am pretty confident that I can transfer my files from any of these ports at a very fast and reliable speed. I tried hooking up my dual monitors to this MacBook, and it connected seamlessly. Everything worked fine. So if you are planning to purchase this MacBook and hook up external monitors to this MacBook, I'm glad to inform you that this monitor has no issues at all driving external monitors. Now let's talk about the performance of this MacBook Pro. As I stated earlier, this MacBook has a Core i5 Intel processor, and honestly, using this for day-to-day tasks like browsing the internet, watching movies, this processor handles all those tasks very well. But when it comes to heavy tasks like video editing or music production, you might notice some glitches. Now, these glitches are not glitches that last for a very long time, maybe 1, 2, 3 seconds, but this processor is a solid processor considering the amount of work that people intending to get this laptop would want to do. Now, I really do not expect you to purchase this laptop and try to use it to edit 4K or 8K clips, but I actually did a test with Final Cut Pro. I edited and exported an 8-minute 4K clip with this laptop, and this laptop exported the clip in about 17 minutes 40 seconds. Now, compared to my M1 Pro MacBook Pro, my M1 Pro MacBook Pro exported the video in about 8 minutes 40 seconds. So that's about 9 minutes faster than this. But again, considering the price of this laptop, the form factor, and what this MacBook has to offer, I would say the performance of this MacBook is still very solid in 2024. Now, while exporting the 4K clip with this laptop, I actually noticed that at some point the fans kicked in and they blew really fast, and the noise from the fan was actually a bit bothering. But after about 2 to 3 minutes of the fan blowing, the fan noise actually went down. Now, it is also important to note that while performing this test, there was really no swap memory being used by this MacBook. If you are very familiar with MacBooks, you would know that anytime you are performing heavy tasks on your MacBook and your RAM is getting full, your MacBook actually converts some part of your SSD into RAM just to use temporarily. But I'm glad to tell you that since this had 16 gigs of RAM, there wasn't really any swap memory being used, despite the fact that I was exporting an 8-minute 4K clip. So I really think this MacBook is going to handle pretty much anything you throw to it. While using this MacBook, I actually remembered my 2018 MacBook Pro that I reviewed some time ago on this channel. I remember that with my 2018 MacBook Pro, I really did not have to do any heavy task before the fan starts blowing. The moment I turn it on and open Google Chrome, the fan just starts blowing, and that was very annoying. But with this 2020 MacBook Pro, I would say the fans only kick in when you are doing heavy tasks, and they just come on for 2-3 minutes and then the fans stop blowing. I think that is very impressive. Now let's talk about the battery life of this MacBook Pro. Now, unfortunately, the battery life on this MacBook Pro is not that great, especially when you compare it to the MacBook Pros that have the M series chips. This MacBook Pro lasts for about 2 to 3 hours depending on what you are doing. So if you are browsing the web, building websites, editing videos, you should expect between 2 to 3 hours from this MacBook. But if the MacBook is just on and you are playing music from it, then the battery life could be as much as 4 to 5 hours. So if you are going to be picking up one of these, I would suggest that you get power solutions like the EcoFlow River 2 or the EcoFlow Delta 2. I'm actually going to review these two power stations on this channel, so feel free to hit that subscribe button if you are getting value from this video. One more thing I would like to talk about is the speakers of this MacBook Pro. The speakers from this MacBook Pro actually sound okay. They are not the best. As you all know, the speakers in the 16-inch versions are much better than the speakers in the 13-inch versions, but I can categorically tell you that the speakers in this 13-inch MacBook Pro beat almost any speaker on any other Windows laptop. Now, to conclude this video, should you purchase this Intel-based 2020 MacBook Pro in 2024? I would say yes. Considering the price, you can still get one of these for about $600–700 in the used market, considering the battery life, considering the speakers, considering that keyboard. That keyboard is amazing, and also considering the fact that this has a touch bar and touch ID. I would say this is still a great buy in 2024. If you would like to purchase one of these, I would have some links in the description for you to check. I hope you found this video helpful. If you found this video helpful, feel free to like the video, feel free to share it with other people considering this MacBook, and I would really appreciate if you subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching. Cheers.